Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could just type yes in the questions. All right, excellent. Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, well, yesterday I apologize for the issues we had here with the webinar. The GoToWebinar software just wasn't working for me at all. I was online with tech support and finally got it going an hour and a half later, or an hour later, and missed some of the second webinar as well. Anyway, looks like we're up and running and good to go right now. So let's start. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. When you subscribe to Bookmap at bookmap.com, and I'll show you the website in just a minute, it comes with education. So there's a 4-part educational course that you get with the subscription. You can access that course at any time. However, you can also see that same content in the live order flow analysis webinars that we have following this webinar every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, New York time. The whole concept here is subscribe to Bookmap, you get education on order flow, and then go over the details in the educational course, and then come and ask questions and see it and understand it as it's unfolding in the live market. In those webinars, what we do is we analyze the order flow according to what Bookmap is telling us in a very objective way, and then we start to anticipate the future price movement based on our analysis. Okay, it's not a trading room, but we do anticipate the movements based on the order flow. Okay, all right. Well, let's jump over to bookmap.com, and we're going to go through in this webinar. We're going to go through some of the resources to begin with, so you understand what Bookmap is, where to find it, how to connect. And then some of the social media, and then jump into Bookmap and start to define what you're looking at. All right, so at bookmap.com, scroll down here, there's an intro video, information about Bookmap here in general. This DX feed Bookmap for US equities, I'll speak about that in just a minute. Go down a bit further, and connectivity. Okay, we got to stop here because Bookmap is a software trading platform that visualizes the order flow in a very unique way. Okay, we're not a data provider. We're not a broker nor a data provider. So you will need to provide the data for futures and for U.S. equities. Right now, the connection for to GDAX for the digital currencies, that is free. Okay, so and I'll show you the free version of Bookmap in just a minute. So you can see that there's some platforms listed here under connectivity, like Ninja, Interactive Brokers, and TTX Trader Pro. We connect to these 3 different platforms here via their API. However, we are a trading platform as they are. It is highly recommended to connect directly to the data provider so it doesn't go through any other program. There's maybe some speed issues, some slight speed issues, but the data is cleaner. It won't have to go through anything else, which, you know, maybe the API of that other program, they may filter the data a little bit and aggregate it a little bit. So just bypass it all, connect to CQG, Rhythmic, Gain Capital, IQ Feed, Transact, and Dev Experts. Okay, now the Dev Experts, let's scroll up and go over that, because this is a new, unique offering here. We have with a partnership with DX Feed for all U.S. equities. Okay, and what this consists of is NASDAQ Total View and Last Sale, as well as the CBOE Edge X. Okay, and that's the BATS connectivity. You can read more about some of the advantages here. It's a great data feed, and if you have any questions about it, I can I'd be happy to answer. Okay, so big offering into the U.S. equities, and it can be really beneficial not only for equities traders, but for those looking in the futures markets that maybe they're looking for some sort of correlated market as a leader. Maybe it's IBM for the mini Dow, or maybe it's Apple or Facebook or Netflix for the NASDAQ. Okay, well, you can offer or plot those correlated markets right onto the Bookmap chart. Anyway, opening up in all sorts of directions here: digital currencies, futures, and U.S. equities. All right, here's how you can subscribe. There's monthly and yearly options here. You can see the yearly is 20% discount, and then monthly is the prices that you see here. Now that digital free version that I mentioned, it's live data. It's from the GDAX exchange, and we're offering it free because it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week market. So you'll always be able to look at something no matter what. And you only get one digital currency though. You get limited support, basic education. You cannot record the data, etc. Now the digital plus version is that free connection to GDAX exchange for the digital currencies, but you can record and replay your data. You can trade right from the Bookmap chart into your GDAX account. You can access up to 20 different digital currencies, and you get the advanced education and full support. All right, now the global version moves on. It includes the digital currencies, the digital plus here, but it also allows for connection to the futures markets and the U.S. equities. You'll just need to provide that data though, since we are not the data provider. Okay. The Global Plus version, what you get with that is it includes everything that you see to the left here, but you also get these add-on indicators that we put together. One is the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart. It's a big advantage because you have the liquidity heat map in front of you, so you can manage your trades, front run high liquidity if you want to get filled, or hide your stops behind high liquidity for a higher probability of not getting stopped out. All right, and then these proprietary indicators we put together look specifically at order flow phenomena. For example, the large lot tracker. This is an algo we put together that allows you to see larger players supplying the majority of the liquidity in that order book. Okay, some imbalance indicators for the book and for volume, and then an iceberg detector. Again, looking at larger players that don't want to show their liquidity in the book, and they're using a hidden order, and our algo can detect when you start to run into iceberg. And then that correlation tracker that I mentioned earlier, being able to plot, for example, Apple on your NASDAQ chart. Okay. Let's go over to social media here, at bookmap_pro. Follow us here on Twitter and get all sorts of information every day regarding Bookmap, other traders, order flow phenomena, etc. And then you can subscribe to our YouTube channel here as well when new videos are uploaded. And just go through some of the playlists here on the front page. Intro videos for those of you who are new, features and components to understand how to engage some of the features in Bookmap, and then these order flow video snippets. I'd recommend watching these. They're short, concise, and they go through order flow phenomena that Bookmap can uncover. And this is really kind of the magic here, right? So I would recommend watching these. And this is the kind of analysis that we go through in detail in the advanced order flow webinars. Okay, I also want to just point attention here to selected webinars down below. This advantage trading equities video here. This was a webinar that we just held last Thursday, and it's for the DX feed Bookmap, okay, for equities, and answer any questions there. So you might want to check out that, and lots of order flow phenomena uncovered using equities. So even if you're a futures trader, I think you could probably get quite a bit out of, or digital trader, digital currency trader. You can get quite a bit out of this webinar. Lots of interesting stuff in there and examples. All right, let's jump into Bookmap and take a look here. We're going to look at the NASDAQ, and let me close up some of the indicators here, and we're just going to go over the basic chart. Okay, get rid of the VWAP indicator, all right, let's zoom in just a little bit here. Okay, so what are we looking at here in Bookmap? Okay, looks for those of you accustomed to those candlestick charts, this could look rather foreign to you. Right, so it's actually even simpler than a candlestick chart by quite a bit. The data here is very straightforward and very objective. There's no indicator here. There's no derivative of time, price, or volume. It's really truly a very objective view of the marketplace. There are only three elements on this chart. One is historical best bid and offer, and current and historical best bid and offer. Best bid and offer is right here, okay? And then it's just recorded. So there's no aggregation here in the data. These volume dots that you see here, or these big spheres here, these are transactions that took place on the best bid or offer. Okay, so it's the volume. And then the heat map is that third element. And all it is a recording of the liquidity in the depth of market, and then projected onto the chart. That's it. So, but I'll get into some of the details here and the advantage that you're getting by being able to access that recording of that historical order book. Okay. So yeah, NASDAQ continues to sell off here pretty nicely. Anyway, those are the three elements. Let's throw a candlestick on here just so we have a reference, and get rid of those three elements. And then let's zoom out a bit and look at a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay. Now, problems here with a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay, we're all accustomed to this view, but it is very opaque, and we've never had access to a lot of the data that's inside of these candlesticks. Okay, even a footprint chart, although you'll see precisely where the volume has traded, it's still aggregated data. You will not see microstructure and speeds of moves. They just won't be there because it's aggregated within a time period, a bar rotation, or some sort of bar study. Okay, and that's a problem because we want clarity or transparency into this data, and instead of it being hidden within an aggregated period. Okay, so let me explain here. I'm just going to show you the best bid and offer, and we'll see what I'm talking about here in terms of microstructure. Okay, and yeah, let's see here. We can maybe start from the big drop here at 9:30, and this is what I mean by microstructure. Okay, here's our 5-minute period from here to here. Each vertical dotted line is 1 minute. So you can see exactly what happened within this 1 minute. And you can see tons of microstructure within this area here. Already, you can see that at the 9:30 open, kind of went to the upside very quickly, not for long. It dropped right back down quickly. You see a little structural element here, this kind of sideways consolidation. Another quick jaunt up to the upside, and it sells right back off. And we have another structure down here. It's even lower than the previous consolidation period. Okay, we get one more push back up, a little bit of volatility here, and we come right back down. We're going to see it when we turn on the volume. But these little areas of consolidation, we're going to see more volume trade within these areas, and it starts to give us clues to a move to the downside. Okay, and that's just looking at the microstructure. This is the kind of data we want access to. It can give us, it starts to tell us that a move like this is a higher probability to the downside. Okay. One of the things we always look for is the when you break a structural area, look for the retest back to where it broke from, and then continuation to the downside. And you'll see this again and again and again. It's one of the setups we look for in the education course. Okay, so microstructure, consolidation. Here's the break. Another little consolidation area. It tried to accept up above here, back up into this range, but look how we can look at the bigger range here. Okay, like this, and it rejected. Okay, it looks like it came up to about the point of control here of this little range, and it rejected pretty hard. Okay, to the downside. Okay? So that's what I mean by microstructure, and that's the kind of insight we want to understand, along with the volume and the third element, that heat map. So let's turn on the volume and let's take a look. Okay, let's bring down the bubble size a little bit. And here's what I mean. Cluster of volume down here, another one here. We see the quick move. We see the big red dots here pulling the market down. And we're starting to get an understanding here. There's more volume trading at lower areas here. And on the retest back up here, we're seeing less volume. I mean, we can just visually look at that and understand it. Okay, and here's the break. Here's they try to retest back up into the range here. It fails. Here's the where the sellers really take control and they hit the bid pretty hard. So what are we looking at here with just these two elements alone? Let's zoom into this little area right here before the break. Okay, and just want to show you these two elements so you have an understanding of what you're looking at. Okay, historical best offer is the red line, best bid is the green. That's it. Okay, that's about as simple as you can get. Now, the bubbles here that you see, well, that's the volume that traded on that historical best bid and offer. So let's zoom into this little area right here because we have some both buying and selling. This is an aggressive buy, the green. Someone hit the market buy button, they crossed the spread, and they took liquidity off of the best offer. In fact, they swept the book. In fact, this is a book sweep by one tick. And a little bit of latency here, as you can see, but we're zoomed into microsecond levels here, so we're looking at millions of seconds. We can continue on and zoom in and look at billions of seconds at nanosecond level. Okay, but we don't trade at those levels here, so let's save that for the algos, or if you're trading algorithmically, then that can be a real nice benefit for you. Anyway, that's it. That's what we're showing here, the volume, and you can see here in the volume column, chart range volume profile. There's one trade that took place at 69.10 and a quarter, and then at 69.10 there was 5 trades, or I'm sorry, volume of 5. But we also know that there's 5 individual trades here. Okay. All right. Now, as I zoom back out, though, note what we do with these areas here. We consolidate it or aggregate it just graphically, okay, into a bigger dot. And you can get the precise data here. We can hover over this, and we get the precise numbers: the date, the very precise time, the spread, and then the volume here. So volume is 6 traded, and this is, you can see that the volume is at 69.10, and then a bunch of a string of decimals, behind the decimal point there. That's because we have it on the VWAP. Therefore, I know that there's more than one trade that took place here. Okay, it's the overall VWAP of all of this trading activity. Okay, if I hover over this dot here, you can see volume of 1 precisely at 69.10. It's this one here that traded one tick above at 69.10 and a quarter, that it's kind of gives us the VWAP with the decimal points. All right, now a market sell is the opposite here. It's the red dot. You can see that the size and color gives you insight to what type of volume and the size of it. Okay, so a lot of selling pulled that market down here. And this is where we see that break that we were looking for below all of these structural elements we were just analyzing. Okay. All right. So that's the volume and the historical best bid and offer. Let's throw on the last element here, and that's the heat map. Okay. And let's go to the current market because I want to show you where this is all derived from. And we can take off the candlestick chart. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the dome. It's the COB column here in Bookmap. It is here's our price ladder here. Okay, and we can see the this is the current market as well. Everything to the right of this vertical white line is the current market. So this is current best bid and offer. You see this number here is the last traded volume. Okay, and then price ladder, and then this is our dome. Okay, these are contracts here, these numbers, and they're sellers up here. They want to sell at these specific areas. They're providing liquidity. Okay, down here on the bid, this is where they want to be buyers at these levels. This is the current auction. Okay, now for those of you accustomed to reading the dome, well, you understand all of this. And the problem though with a dome is you can see how quickly these numbers change. And once they change, you don't have a reference any longer. Okay, you're gonna have to memorize these areas. And what Bookmap does is we take these numeric values and then we turn that into a heat map. Okay, so areas of high liquidity, they become this kind of orange or red color. A little bit less is this yellow color. The scale is up here. Okay, this kind of red is the highest liquidity, then orange, then yellow, then white, then blue, and then black. Okay, and black is the lowest of liquidity. So very quickly, you can see here in the book where they are, the larger players. And here they are down in the bid at 87. Here they are up on the offer at 95, just like that. Okay, don't need to remember any of these areas. In fact, what we do is we take the current book and then it's recorded and transposed on the chart historically. Okay, so note how these areas in here, these little striations, well, this is the adding and pulling of liquidity. Okay, so now we're starting to understand and extrapolate information and knowledge of the intent of these traders. Look how they pulled at 87. So did they want to trade here? And the answer is no. Okay, they pulled and added lower, or maybe they pulled and flipped to the other side. Okay, well, we can see a lot of that behavior. At the moment, I don't see it. It looks like maybe they pulled and added a little bit lower here, like from here down to here, because at the same moment you can see it. See how they pulled here and then added down here. This guy for sure pulled here and then added a couple ticks lower. All right, and now we're starting to understand and get some meaning from the order book. And it's very easy, instead of trying to remember these numeric values, how long they stayed there, were they there an hour ago, did they pull, did people front run them, or did they pull and add behind them? Well, all of that gives us insight to the auction. Okay, and that's what we do and understand the intent of these traders when we start to get into the advanced analysis in the next webinar. Okay, so for example, look what just occurred. Okay, well, high liquidity here at 91, right? And they want to be sellers, and look what the reaction was to price, or the traders to this high liquidity here. They were not attracted to it whatsoever. They were repelled by this area here. Okay, and we found more sellers hitting the bid, and where are they going to come? 80, right here. That's where the high liquidity is. Okay, so now we can start to understand intent, and we can understand how the reaction between the traded volume and the book makes a big impact on traders and ultimately price movement. And we can start to also target areas. So our target here was 80. Okay, we just came a tick away from it. And note that a little bit of front running there at 80 3/4 now. Okay, so let's see if let's zoom in here a little bit closer. Okay, well, it looks like that guy or those actors here looks like they actually traded. Okay, at 80 and 81 as well. Let's zoom in here, and I'm going to show you the distinction because a lot of traders will say, well, that limit order book, it doesn't, it's all fake liquidity anyway, and it's just not true. It doesn't really operate that way, and we can make a very clear distinction here in Bookmap. Okay, was it fake? Was it real? Or did they have the intent to trade is more the answer. Well, here's 49 contracts here. What actually traded here was 8 contracts. So they started pulling. You can see them pulling here. Okay, as the best bid went into that high liquidity. So here's our answer at 80. Did they want to trade? No, they didn't. They pulled. Okay, looking for the next level. Looking at 477 then. Okay, what about 80? Some nice stuff here. I mean, a little bit of potential spoofing as well. Very high liquidity pressing down here. 111 contracts followed up with 53 right after. Our large lot tracker is showing you right here, for example. The majority of both of these areas is one individual actor. Okay, and did this guy have the intent to trade? No, he pulled as price came back up. Okay, so this is looking more like kind of a spoof here. What about this guy here? Well, he actually wanted to trade, and this is what it looks like. Okay, you see, look how they lifted the offer, or they started to hit right into this high liquidity here. It was 106 contracts, and you see it trading right into it. These are real this is real liquidity. It's staying in the book. Okay. Well, what happens here is it completely absorbed the buying pressure. Okay? And this is what it looks like. And well, how do I know that? Well, because there's no more buying. And you can see that the best offer is up here, and there's no one interested. They'll trade they'll buy a tick lower, and that was it though. Okay, and you can see the reaction here. Okay, our 77 level, that's already traded, as you can see. And here they are again at 78 on the offer with high liquidity. Okay, well, we're getting down here to a point where we might start to find some buyers. This is pretty harsh sell-off and starting to get into some of these areas. Ben, let me answer your question here. I've seen it here for the last few minutes here. Any hotkeys to scroll the chart to an earlier time frame without zooming? No, the zoom though, you don't have to use these tools up here. You can just, there's a few different ways to zoom. So I'll cover that and then let's wrap it up and call it a day here. Okay, so nice move. We saw that some of the absorption, okay, on the sell side actually, right in this area here, but we see the move to the upside here. All right, so you don't have to use these tools. I only use them for demo purposes. I use my center mouse wheel. You can zoom in and out extremely quickly. Okay? So there's really no need for a hotkey in that sense. And then if you want to zoom into a specific area, so let's say this area up here, okay, just click on this move tool, hover over this area, and then zoom in with your center mouse wheel. You may need to reposition your mouse and then just zoom in again with your mouse wheel. Okay, and so here we are, just down at microsecond level within seconds. Okay, and if you want to zoom all the way back out, well, just zoom back out with your center mouse wheel. Okay, and let's go back to that current market, and here we are. Okay, so pretty quick. And yeah, it's you'll get, I think, accustomed to it and start to be able to zoom really quickly without a use of a hotkey. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Let's wrap it up. And I apologize again for yesterday's lack of webinar due to the I couldn't get in. I was not able to hold it. We had some software issues. Okay. Anyway, come here also on Friday. I'll give you a link to check out the advanced order flow webinar, so you guys can see what we do there. All right, and get a feel for some of the education that we cover here when you subscribe to the product. Okay. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.